I think Johnny Who has a big chance.
I may as well have legged 2 pigs up into the back of my car and said, have as much fun as you want.
So, Pat, but before we start, you going to be all right with this?
What?
Well, Nikolai Chastel de Boinville mania. Or because we can take it down if you're not underneath it or happy that, Pat, your birthday's been taken over by Nikolai.
Yeah, we have probably used his name so much on this show, he could be sitting in that chair there, Matt, so we'll make an exception for him.
Okay. So
Maybe
right.
he will be sat in this chair one day.
Well,
Nico,
I think they'd have to up their fees, wouldn't they?
when you've finished your riding days, that could be waiting for you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of your favourite podcast. I think I can say that now, can't I, Pat?
Yeah.
Yeah, your favourite podcast. It is Unbridled in association. Still, they said they'll sack us after one show. They said they sack us after 5, 10, 15, 20 shows. Now we got to 23 and they're still begging to be with us. BoyleSports are kind sponsors. Paddy, it was your birthday. We've decked the studio out as best we can in Nikolai Chastel de Boinville mania. This card is a particularly nice touch, I feel.
I feel like it's Nico's birthday.
I've never ever thought I'd have Nico on my head.
No.
Something you shouldn't say perhaps every day of the week. Anyway, did you have a good birthday?
Yeah, lovely birthday.
Did you?
Yeah. I like when you get past the age of 30, you get your name out of the racing post because you don't want people to know you're getting old.
Past the age of 30?
Yeah. Just as
past
a jockey.
The age of 40?
No, but past the age of 30,
50?
I removed
Okay.
my name from the racing post because I didn't want anyone knowing when it's my birthday. But since I started working for Unbridled, it was put out on social media yesterday that it was my birthday. So
And your age?
Not my age. No.
I mean, you are a young 50. I like it. You are. You're going well. Anyway, obviously, lots of people wanted to send in messages, but I sifted through all of them. This was the only one that really, really mattered to me. So let's see if we can get this one to work. Let's have a go. Sorry, my phone's going all over the place, Patrick. Here we go.
Morning, Matt and Paddy. Just calling in to wish Paddy a very happy birthday. It's almost been a year since he retired, and I think he's adjusted very well. Just like to say thank you for all the support this season as well. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Send my best to the family and everything. All right, all the best. Bye.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Lovely.
Do you feel slightly sarcastic, though, the thing about the support?
No,
You think you have been supported?
I have sent him the odd message.
Have you?
Yeah.
Hold on. What, behind Unbridled's back? You've secretly been massaging the Nico...
No, I don't think so. I just thought after Cheltenham, he took some stick, and I said to him a message. I said, you know what you've done and what you've achieved. You just carry on and doing it.
But you were the one giving him the stick.
I'll always give him stick, but I've got a good side to me, Matt.
So just to make absolutely clear to the general public, your good side is that on this show you slate him, and then behind this show's back you send him little messages saying, Nico, I didn't really mean that.
No, I've never ever said that.
This is as fickle as you taking people out to dinner, isn't it?
I've never ever apologised for anything I've said on the show. Never.
There's
nothing fickle about it.
Well, there's another side to you.
Not really.
Well, there is, isn't there?
No.
Where's my dinner?
It's coming.
Jesus Christ.
It is.
There's nothing worse. Nothing worse. Anyone watching this will back me up on this. There's nothing worse with a person who takes a bet who doesn't fulfil that bet.
Well,
I can't think of anything worse in a man or a woman. Anyone. An animal.
All right, enough.
Yeah, you may well sit there slightly. Anyway, you had a good day. You had a good
Lovely
birthday,
day.
yeah?
My family.
Okay, well, thanks to BoyleSports for sponsoring us once again. Obviously, the jump season is nearing an end. We are nearing an end on Unbridled, but it's not over yet, folks. Oh, no, it's not. So let's have a look back at the Scottish National. Just in general terms, Pad, Did you find it easier watching the Grand National at Aintree or the Scottish Grand National at Ayr, just as an observer of the race?
Yeah, like they're two obviously wonderful races. I was only saying I miss, that we're coming to the end of the jump season. They're both like a treat to watch. You as much as I used to love riding in them, I love watching them. To say which one is easier to watch, it's not. I suppose you're more in control of where people are in the Scottish National, whereas the Grand National, there's so many of them. It's hard to pick them out.
Let's go back to the Cheltenham Festival when I was sat in your kitchen, which was lovely, by the way. I really enjoyed that. We played a game, model or jockey. When it came to Harry Cobden, do you remember your answer? Was it model, was it jockey, or was it both?
Model.
It was, wasn't it? When it came to riding Captain Cody, I thought it was one of the sexiest rides I've seen for a long time. I actually think that Cobden rode it like a model. Being a model helped him. You were right.
It was a masterclass ride. It really was. Yeah, it
Sexy.
was. And you know what? You wouldn't even pick him out early in the race if you weren't looking at where he was. Because again, there's so many runs. Now, Johnny Burke gave the second horse an exceptional ride. Two different sets of tactics. But if we're banging on all season about race riding tactics, for a trainer and a jockey, you need to sit down and watch Harry Cobden in that race. It was. Harry Skelton had a similar plan. Unfortunately, he got brought down to the first. But Matt, I haven't got the exact times of the speed they were going down to the first two fences. But it's a Scottish National, and there's so much pressure on jockeys to get a good start, to get a good position. And I think we need to be very careful of an industry, of a sport, of tactics in that order, because the horse comes first. And bringing the horse back safe to me is a priority. And I just think races like that need to slow down a bit. Trainers need to relax on their tactics. And it's tough on jockeys. They're under pressure. Their backs are against the wall, the majority of them. If you don't get a good start, and if you're not handy, you're going to lose the ride. And Harry Cobden, he rode that like it was 100-1. And it wasn't the end of the world if he never rode for Willie Mullins again. And it was masterclass.
You know who it reminded me of, and we haven't really seen that kind of riding, I think, recently, possibly since he's retired. It was like Paul Carberry. If that had been Paul Carberry, everyone would have been saying, oh, that's just Carberry magic. No one else can do what he's just done. It was that good, I thought. And I loved the little, you would have liked the little that and like that at the end. Cobden knew it was good as well.
Yeah, it was mad. But what was it, Matt? The last fence, you watch Rory McIlroy in the Masters yesterday, and great sportsmen have a decision to make. And it was Harry Cobden's decision going down to the last, which I loved. It was like he was that confident. He didn't need a big jump. He was thinking, I just need to get over this. He probably lost 2 lengths. Now that is world-class riding. And, from there home, he was dancing inside. That's some feeling knowing once you land off the back of the last, you are going to win. But like we've spoke on this show many times, you ride to win, you ride not to lose. Harry Cobden rode that horse to win.
Pat, I want to just go back to what you were saying just now about the speed. Is it realistic to tell jockeys to go out slowly in this sport? I can't really see how you do that.
Yeah, not an easy question to answer. And we've all been briefed, as I say, by the stewards or the BHA to try and go, use your brain. But as I say, when you've got trainers putting extreme pressure on you to be handy, when you got 20 trainers telling 20 jockeys to be handy, well, only 3 or 4 horses can be handy, Matt. And I don't know how you go about it, but to protect our own sport, things do need to change on that front. I think in Ireland it's an example of how it should be done. The race riding in Ireland's totally different. They go a lot slower. Yes, the tracks are sometimes a lot bigger, but that is the only way I can give you an example of what you should do or could do.
I got a message from a lady on X the other day. It says, I really am reaching the point where enough is enough, and I'm a lover of racing, horses, and a former owner. The problem I've got with all of this, speed, the upset of horses passing and stuff, is that I feel, and I really feel this passionately, that the sport has created this issue. And when I say that, Paddy, I mean that we've created that every one of these horses is a pet, like a cat or a dog, yeah? And yet, I've met enough horsey people to know that a lot of racehorses are not pets. They're not very nice. A lot of racehorses are, but a lot of them aren't. But we've created this sort of feeling that these are cuddly animals, and we've done it in all sorts of ways. We've emphasised the work of stable staff, quite rightly, but in doing that, we just see pictures of stable staff cuddling their horses at home, etc., which isn't the reality of living in a stable. It's not the reality of trying to get in the box to clean it out and getting kicked, getting the horse out the box, getting kicked on the gallops, getting dumped. All those things are never shown. And there will be plenty more than that, because I'm not a horsey person. Those are just examples of things that can go wrong. There'll be millions more. The problem with horse racing is this is a sport where horses will die. But we are scared of saying that. And when people say things like, as this lady did to me, that I'm reaching the point where enough is enough, for me, that's so easy to argue through. Because once you've said enough is enough, what you're saying is, I would like the end of the thoroughbred species, the end of a whole species. So in the great schemes of things, we're not just talking about a tiny, sorry, my chair just collapsed, a tiny number of horses that pass in relation to the number of horses that run and are bred and live. A tiny number. What we're saying is, if we're saying enough is enough, is that we want this whole species to die, that none of these horses should ever have a life. And I just feel if back in day dot, we went down that route and really emphasised to people that you are ending a whole breed here, not just the odd horse that sadly passes away. And it is with sadness. And the people who are really sad about them are the people in stables who live with these horses every day of the week, not the keyboard warriors. Next week, they'll be on to something else moaning about. They couldn't care less, most of them. Most of them, I emphasise. Most of them. And that, for me, is the problem. That ultimately, if you love horses, enough should never be enough. Because if you end horse racing in any way whatsoever, you end horses.
Yeah. Look, it's how long is a piece of string, Matt, with the situation. But I do agree on one point. When there is an episode in a race, I feel the people behind the microphone are hiding a little bit, and it's not something we can hide about. We need someone to stand up and say this is the situation, but passing it on to the BHA or passing it on to the next person is not really what we need from a viewing point of view. We have to hear what it is. And look, you go on about horses and some aren't as kind as others, but I always compare horses to humans, Matt. They're all different. They all got different personalities. But they are, in my experience in yards, they are all loved, especially by the stable staff. And no matter what, it's never easy. But yeah, it is what it is, and we hope and it's not going to be always that sad ending.
Yeah, I do find statements from officials in racing when a horse dies in a high-profile race. I struggle with that. It just sounds so fake. It might be real, I don't know. But when you get someone in an office in London reading out a press release saying, we're all really saddened by this, but they don't do that when a horse dies at Plumpton on a Monday afternoon, or they don't do that when a horse dies at Catterick on a Wednesday. It's like, I struggle with that. I think it sounds incredibly fake, and also it's the same press release every time. I don't really get it. I mean, how sad are they? I mean, what are they sat at home crying? I mean, why? It just sounds so false. I'd much rather hear from, if we're going to do that kind of thing, the stable lad or lass.
Yeah.
Or, I don't think officials need to be putting out statements about how sad they are, because I don't think anyone buys it.
No, look, it's a lot to catch up on, and I'm sure everyone will have meetings. But like you said,
it's a tough sport, Pad.
It is going to happen.
It's a tough sport.
Tough sport.
These horses are bred to do what they're doing, and some of them will pass doing what they're doing. And if you know that, and you can come to terms with it, then this is a great sport in so many ways. But if you can't come to terms with it, in many ways it's not a sport for you, because you have to have that realization that these horses would never have lived without the sport. They are living because of the sport.
Absolutely. They love being racehorses, and yeah, they would not want to be doing anything else. So
yeah, I think it's so important to get that message across that, none of us want any horse to die, and the statistics show that the vast majority live, and they really do have terrific lives. But equally, for that vast majority to live and have great lives, there will be some that pass, and you've got to get to grips with that to keep this sport going. Willie Mullins, 1-2. He's about £1,000 and a bit behind Skelton at the time of recording, I hasten to add, which this week is on a Monday. The show will be out later in the week, but we are recording on a Monday because I will be in Newmarket for flat racing on our usual recording day. People are still building this up. There was a huge, in today's Racing Post, which was Monday's, I should hasten to add, there was an article about head-to-head, and I have to say, I don't see it as a head at all. I mean, Mullins will win this, won't he? I can't see any way that Skelton can win this.
yeah, it's become difficult. I think Dan had a massive day on Friday. Had 3 winners. Willie's had a bad start to Saturday. First few races, Scottish champion hurl wasn't looking like Willie was going to end up like he did. I think Dan said that Willie took the jam out of his donut. Well, he took the donut out of his hand on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that works. I was trying to work out if that actually works.
Well, he took the jam out of his donut in the Grand National, and in the Scottish National, took the donut.
You're as close to Dan as anyone. On the outside...
Harry.
What?
Harry. I'm closer to Harry than I am to Dan.
Okay. You are close to the Skeltons. On the outside, chest is still puffed out. Very proud of the team. He's saying all the right things. What's the jam inside the donut really feeling like?
Well, yeah, I rode out there the week before the Grand National, and the place was rocking, and suddenly you go back in there after the Grand National, and you can feel it. The staff feel it. The tractor man feels it.
Who's the tractor man?
Oh, sorry, I don't know his name, but I'll find that out. Phil, the lorry driver, they all feel it, Matt. It runs through the staff.
Is Phil really the lorry driver? You just made that name up.
No, Phil is the lorry driver.
You sure?
Yes.
Because if I find out he
drives
Jack,
the biggest lorry in England.
Okay.
Yeah, and they all feel it. Of course you do. You're building up to be champion trainer. Suddenly, Willie Mullins I think he's 1-6 now, Matt. I haven't got beat on many 1-6 shots, but it's inevitable that Willie's probably going to be champion trainer.
No. You did get beat on one towards the end of your career, though, didn't you?
What?
You got beat on one, didn't you? Do you remember?
1-6.
Well, it was quite out the back most of the way, wasn't it?
Don't know
Might
what
as
you're
well
about.
have been 1-6.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, okay. Who do you think will win it?
I just said Willie Mullins.
Okay.
This year.
I was concentrating on my hat.
I did say Dan all year, so I got that wrong as well.
And you got Champion Hurdle wrong, famously on the show as well.
How did I?
Because you said Lossiemouth would win it.
There was one thing I wanted to correct you on, actually. don't give me that stupid smile. You were like, you found it offensive when people came up to you saying about Lossiemouth at Aintree. What can we just focus on that for a second? What did you mean by that?
Because I had quite a lot of people coming out, oh, Paddy was right after all, and they didn't seem to understand what a bet was. Like, what has happened outside of the Champion Hurdle is irrelevant to our particular wager, which is between you, me, Nicky Henderson, and Michael Buckley. And the wager was Lossiemouth would win the Champion Hurdle.
Didn't run.
No.
But that's got nothing to do with Aintree. And sometimes you got to take some flack. You ain't going to be always right.
What are you talking about? My life is 24/7 flack.
No, but, you got a little bit wrong there about Aintree, but we'll move on.
So, Pad, Cheltenham, let's just remind everyone of the difference that you thought between two jockeys.
Well, you know Harry Cobden's a good-looking lad, isn't he? He's in Tatler.
We don't need to tell him that. I see you doing him modelling shoots.
That's what I mean.
Is he a jockey or a model?
Sean Bowen.
Sean Bowen's an interesting one because he's a very good jockey. So we'll go with jockey.
But he's never going to do a modelling shoot, is he?
Shall we speak to him? Champion jockey elect.
Champion.
Can we not do better than that? Champion! There he is, the champion jockey of 2024-2025 jump season, Mr. Sean Bowen. Sean, let's just get straight into it. Champion jockey, how does that feel?
Yeah, do you know, Matt, I've obviously feel like I've achieved my childhood dreams in being champion jockey. But I don't know, I suppose it's the way you'd be thinking as a jockey. I feel like I haven't achieved enough this season, and like obviously won the big winners as well, and had a few nice handicap winners. But yeah, look, I've fulfilled a dream. But look, in this game, I suppose you're always wanting more.
I mean, that's the key, Pat. I guess Sean will sit there and saying champion jockey, but I want grade ones. I guess there's a little bit of the Brian Hughes factor that we had a few years ago. But having said all that, two rides that I'm not going to forget from this season. The old Boston B at Newbury, which was sensational. And I was at Plumpton the other day, and Shared was, well, it probably wasn't quite as good as Boston, but it was sensational. I mean, he's going to win the Leicester for Ride of the Year for Boston. I mean, they can give him that now. You have to wait about another 8 months or something, but they can give him that now. And that's key, isn't it? A lot of people are saying this is a proper champion.
Yeah, I think you got to be careful when you compare jockeys. You mentioned Brian Hughes, when it comes to grade ones. And for Brian, it was a case of he wanted to stay up north, and he didn't want to come to Cheltenham, really, because there wasn't a lot from try. Whereas Sean, he's fulfilled his dream this season. As he said, his mum and dad will be extremely proud of him. But the grade ones will come for Sean. It's just he's had to focus on it this year, and the grade ones ride weren't really there. But I think it's inevitable. Like we speak about Rory McIlroy, he had to wait so long for a Masters. Sean didn't have to wait as long to be champion jockey, but the grade ones will come.
Is that how you feel, Shawnee?
Yeah, look, I'm obviously riding for a very, very good trainer, and he's only on the up, and things are getting better and better. And Ollie obviously knows how to buy the right horse through his dad as well, and knows how to train them. Look, they're gonna come along, but yeah, it's something we all want. Is plenty of winners, but big winners as well, isn't it? So. Yeah, look, I feel like we're growing together. I'm obviously still young. Ollie's a very young trainer, and yeah, I have no doubt that the way Ollie's going in a few years, we'll have the big winners, and I do think in a few years he'll be challenging for a trainers' championship.
I mean, to be quite frank, it's Ollie who's worrying here, isn't it? If he's going to keep Sean Bowen, he needs to start pulling his fingers out, the old big boy, isn't he? Old Ollie. And you could have picked me up on something, but you didn't.
What?
Because it's Booster Bob. I think I call him Boston, but it's Booster Bob.
Bob.
Do you feel that's one of the great rides you've given a horse? Have you given a horse a better ride than Booster Bob?
Oh, look, I don't know. I got greater satisfaction out of that because I suppose a lot of people would have probably pulled the horse up, and yeah, I'd imagine anyone that had backed him or at least was watching him said I had no chance all the way around. So you have great satisfaction out of them ones that people say you've no chance, and yeah, no, it was nice to win a big handicap in that manner as well, I suppose, because people see you day to day, and you could do that probably on a Monday, like you said, on shared, but people don't notice it as much.
I mean, that shared ride, I was obviously there, so I was lucky to be there for that. But that really was, I mean, that was a horse that, you know, Pat and I have talked on this show about, you know, jockeys having to be responsible pulling horses up, but there's always the other side of the coin, isn't it? There, with one like that, you keep shoveling along, and we have to remember that it's not so long ago that when McCoy did that every day of the week, everyone was just saying it's the greatest thing we've ever seen, and basically you've taken on that role, I think, that never say, never give up. Some horses are just lazy, keep trying.
Yeah, but as a jockey, like Paddy will tell you, you know when horses have more to give you and when they don't, and you know when you should be pulling up and when you shouldn't be. And yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know what makes me do that. I suppose I'm so hungry for winners and want winners every day of the week, and I've actually got my stag do in Tenerife in a few weeks, and Punchestown's on, and I said to James, I might have to go to Punchestown, and he said, mate, have you not ridden enough winners this season? Do you not get bored?
But Matt,
you never get bored of that feeling.
Sean is, I'd sort of compare him to Wayne Rooney. We spoke about Harry Cobden earlier.
What, hair-wise are we talking now?
No, talent-wise.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a winner. He's a winner, and he makes things happen. And from my experience of riding with Sean, he was so uncomplicated. He's very fair. He seems to get to the start. You don't even know he's there. He'll find his own position. He'll find room. He's very fair to the younger jockeys, and he's very fair to everyone around him. I suppose Cobden is more like a Ronaldo, isn't he? He's pretty and a little bit of fake tan, and might score a good goal, but Sean is...
hold on, come on. Cobden's better than just might score a good goal.
Let me finish.
He's better than that.
Yeah, okay. Well, Sean is 7 days a week, and you'll always get value for your money on every single ride, and I think he's thoroughly deserves to be champion, and I'm really proud of him.
Shawnee, you mentioned your stag do in Tenerife. Just one thing about that. Could you explain to me, if I was in a car with you in Tenerife, why I might not be absolutely keen for you to be driving?
Yeah, Matt, nothing annoys me more than mess. I've a bit of OCD, and unfortunately had to bring James and Brendan Powell back from air. I've literally just on the way out of the car wash, I may as well have legged 2 pigs up into the back of my car and said, have as much fun as you want on the way home. And yeah, nothing annoys me more, and they're absolutely stinking.
I've got a couple of little messages, as we always do on this show. Starting with your brother. I have to say, when he recorded this, he must have been somewhere that he shouldn't have been. It almost actually sounds as if he'd been in the back of your car and was trying not to let you listen. But anyway, this comes from brother James. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hey Matt, sorry I haven't got back to you till now. I've been trying to think all afternoon of if I've got something on Sean, but turns out I haven't. He's very well behaved. He wouldn't want to go on a night out with him, mind, because he will give you major anxiety the next day. And, tell you everything what you've done the night before, so I'll try to avoid that. But yeah, very proud of what he's done this season, and hopefully he'll be crowned champion jockey at the end of the season at Sandown. So very proud brother I am.
That's nice, although I'm slightly concerned that it's still hopefully. I mean, who does he think will get the 38 winners in the last 2 weeks? Or whatever it is, somewhere in that region. Actually, just while you're there, I did have one slightly better, because you'd be quite good mates with Charlie Hammond, wouldn't you?
I would be, yeah.
Okay, good. Let's see what he's got to say.
Now, Sean will probably tell this one better himself, so you might be better off asking for him, to be honest. But he has a little bit of trouble with passport control. When we went on holiday last year, he ended up very nearly not being allowed to fly home because he didn't get his passport stamped. Why Sean didn't get his passport stamped? No one knows. Sean couldn't remember whether it was stamped or not, but it wasn't in his passport at all. And the Greeks were not a big fan of a potential illegal immigrant trying to escape their country without them knowing why he was there. So for about 25 minutes, he was having to try and explain in Greek. It's just Sean putting on a Greek accent. Why he'd been in the country and how he came in and when he came in.
Surely, would you like to give us a bit of your Greek accent?
My Welsh accent's bad enough. I won't go for the Greek one. I don't know, Matt. I'm not very good. All I seem to be able to do in life is ride horses. So yeah, anything like that, I leave it to anyone else.
Who's going on the stag do? Because obviously our invites, the Unbridled crew weren't invited, were we? No. All that support we've given him, Model, Cobden, brilliant jockey, Bowen all year, nothing for us. Who's going?
Oh, there's plenty going. James has obviously organised it, so we could be off anywhere.
House music.
Obviously, Charlie Hammond, Gavin Sheehan, Charlie Todd, yeah. Oh, there's loads of us. There's about 15, 20 of us. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be good fun.
And
Brilliant.
Tell our listeners and viewers, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, the lucky lady who's marrying a champion?
Harriet. She's doing all the organising as well. So,
you've been together quite a long while, though, haven't you?
Yeah, we actually met at Paul Nichols's when we both worked there. So probably 8 or 9 years now. So yeah, getting married in July.
That's great. I always remember Jamie Moore met his missus at school, and they're together, because we're used to, the James Bowen lifestyle, but actually, we're kind of used to jockeys, we think, just playing around all the time, but there are some decent relationships out there. Amongst the really dull jockeys, that that's really good. 9 years. How important do you think it is to your success to have had that sort of solid other half, so to speak?
Oh, it is massive. I obviously have a very good, solid home life, like you said, and yeah, I like James said, give him anxiety. I suppose I don't drink and try and do everything I possibly can. But yeah, Harriet's so supportive of everything I do, and she literally does everything bar ride the horses on the day. So yeah, I'm very lucky to have that support around me, and obviously family as well. So yeah, it's a massive part of the success.
Sean, just your mum and dad, like I said earlier, how proud they'll be of you. I remember when you used to be going racing a lot with them as a kid. Your dad would travel from Fishguard. He could have a runner at Utoxer in the summer. God knows what time he'd get home. Just a line on what they have done for you and what they mean.
Well, they've obviously done everything to this point to get me to this point. And like I suppose even the time when I left Paul Nichols's and wasn't getting as many rides, I was lucky I had mum and dad to fall back on and rode loads of winners for them, and yeah, they've obviously supported me all the way through, and dad would still bollock me now if he thinks I've given one a bad ride. So yeah, I suppose you learn so much as well as a kid when you go racing. Like there'd be like the likes of Jamie Moore, Tom O'Brien, yourself, AP, Dickie. There'd be so many top jockeys that'd be riding for dad, and you'd be listening the whole time. And I suppose that's a massive help as well. And then you'd go home riding the ponies up the gallops, pretending to be the champion jockey. I suppose AP, Dickie and Brian Hughes, you always pretending to be them up the gallops. So yeah, very lucky with the support they've had through pony racing all the way through to now.
And you've had to graft. It hasn't always been just, you know, simple every year. 2018, 19, 91 winners, then came back in 2019, 20, 54 winners. So like almost 40 less. But now the last 3 seasons up into the hundreds. Is Fitzy still your jockey coach?
No, I do speak to Fitzy now and again, but he's not. But I've got really good support around me. I do have Alan Corley, who's obviously been a jockey and is a very good agent now, and I actually speak to Andrew Thornton most days, going through my races. I have someone doing everything for me, so have someone driving me now. So. Look, that success doesn't just come from yourself. It comes from everyone around you.
Yeah. No wonder you're feeling good about yourself if you're.
He looks incredibly fresh.
Yeah, but if you're comparing yourself star-wise with Andrew Thornton on a daily basis, you're going to feel you're pretty good, aren't you?
He was as good as tactical jockey. Andrew Thornton was. I rode against, and you know, to Sean and James, that was something they went out and sourced years ago. And not many people know about it. He's extremely helpful of where to go, different tracks, different positions. They picked him, and I'd say he's a big help.
Mm. Well, Sean, as Paddy mentioned, I think the best thing about the Bowens, and I've managed to, you know, I've been interviewing a long time now, so I've interviewed just about every member of the family, I suspect. Like, this is a proper family. Like, Peter, the missus, they are the most lovely people you'll ever meet. I like James, obviously not the brightest spark in the world, but he's great. And you yourself, Shawnee, absolutely mustard in the saddle. You are what I would call a proper champion, and you ride like a champion. And I've always said with champions, I know it's a very simple way of gauging it, but if punters like you and they want you, that is the best gauge. And I don't know, I've never spoken to a single punter who hasn't been pleased to have Sean Bowen on their horse. And if you've won the punters over, you've kind of won at this game. So I'm absolutely thrilled for you, Sean. You deserve this. Walk like a champion. And the next time you get into trouble in Greece about your passport, simply say, look at Google, Sean Bowen, champion jockey, Wales, and you will be allowed scot-free wherever you go. Sean, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Our pleasure,
well
Sean. Our pleasure. Congratulations.
Champione! Champione!
We'll get bored of that.
It's been a funny jump season in many ways, Pat. I just wanted to go through the divisions. 2 mile hurdle, let's start with them. Constitution Hill, State Man, Lossiemouth, Golden Ace, Brighter Days Ahead. Who, at this minute, is the champion 2 mile hurdler?
Lossiemouth.
Okay. If you've got any thoughts on who the current champion 2 mile hurdler is, put them below. I mean, bringing this back, as I often have to do with you, to reality, I mean, Punchdown will decide it. If Constitution just hacks up, Christmas Hurdle, Cheltenham, okay, not the festival, but is that Nico? If he wins at Punchdown, would you admit it's Constitution Hill?
No.
2 mile novice hurdler, Kopek de Board or the New Lion? Now that is a question.
Easy answer.
Shall I tell you? I know where you're going to go here because you're groupie, aren't you?
No, I'm not groupie. I'm a realist.
You're a groupie.
The New Lion. I said he'd be champion hurdle favourite after he ran at Cheltenham.
Dan and Harry, my 2 best friends. I go in there and ride out every week.
Which one do you want then?
I think it's really tricky. I thought they were both superb. I mean, if I had to pick one, I'd say the New Lion at the moment. Because I think Kopek de Board is going to be a chaser, whereas the New Lion might always be a hurdler. I don't know. I might be wrong about that. But that's how I'm thinking myself. But who do you think? Answers below, Kopek de Board or the New Lion. But 2 really exciting horses to go forward to. There's a bit of Istabrack about the New Lion as a hurdler, novice. Little bit of Istabrack about him. Obviously, he's not an ex-flat horse like Istabrack. but there is a little bit of Istabrack about the way he did it at Cheltenham. He's nothing like Istabrack, I should hasten to add, just a little bit of him before anyone goes crazy. Staying hurdler. Hidden Valley, Tiapu, Bob Ollinger. Puppy Power was quite clear on this, which he thinks is the best on soft ground. What would you go with?
I would go with Tiapu.
Yeah.
And he didn't make entry. I think it was a big decision and it was the correct decision, but that'll pay dividends at Punchestown.
It's a weak division though, isn't it? Since the likes of Paisley Park, and then you got into the big bucks. I suppose is it always a weak division, bar one or two?
You say that. I think big bucks, Ingles, Drever, they were strong divisions.
Who?
Ingles, Drever.
Who? Is he ridden by Paul Townsend? Staying novice hurdler. Jasmine DeVoe or the Yellow Clay?
We'll let you answer that one.
Well, I suspect Jasmine DeVoe is the most talented. Just those quirks. Hunters below Jasmine DeVoe or the Yellow Clay. 2 Mile Chaser. Now, this is interesting. John Bon or Marine Nationale?
Marine National.
So you just judge him on one effort. It's one performance you're judging him on.
That's the champion chase. Not a bad effort, is it?
John Bon is the best 2 Mile Chaser.
He ain't around Cheltenham, is he?
He's got the best rider, Nicolas Chastel de Boinville.
Hold on a minute.
And he's the most consistent.
Aidan Coleman did nothing wrong on John Bon.
Who said he did?
Well, just saying he's got the best rider. He used to have the best rider before Nico.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find Aidan's riding at this minute, though. So he's got the best rider. You just got to just chill.
No.
Give me that look. Okay, it's got to be John Bon, hasn't it?
Marine
Until Marine National does it again.
Until John Bon wins the champion chase, he ain't the best 2 Mile Chaser, is he?
So you can only be the best if you've won at Cheltenham.
It's the Olympics.
Okay. 2 Mile Novice Chaser. Sergino, Majbra, or Django Bay. I've got to put him in there. He did win the Arkle at the end of the day.
Sergino. I hope we see him back on the race course.
You're judging the best 2 Mile Novice Chaser the whole season who ran in one race. And he's the best.
The best.
Okay. I mean, he clearly is, but I don't know whether he can win it after winning a little novice chase at Kempton.
Win what?
Sergino.
Yeah, win what?
Win the division as the champion 2 Mile Novice Chaser. I don't know if you can win it after just running in one race. Staying Chaser. I know the way you're thinking. Factofile or Galopante des Champs.
I was a massive Factofile fan all the way through the season. I thought he was awesome in the Ryanair, so I'd stick with him.
I mean, it's clearly Galopin des Champs. It's clearly the best Staying Chaser still. Just wasn't soft enough ground at Cheltenham. It's clearly Galopin des Champs. This is not a battle. This is not a fight, is it? You've got such a short memory. When you decked Q-Card, did you just think he was rubbish then? Okay, let's go on to the next division. Staying Novice Chase. Lecky Watson.
Oh, good question, this one.
Or Caldwell Potter.
Caldwell Potter. I don't think I've ever been more wrong about a horse.
Well, you have, actually.
What?
Constitution, no.
So I'd say Caldwell Potter.
I mean, I've loved watching him. It's so exciting.
Beautiful. He's so good to jump in.
Yeah. And again, Cobden's silky. Like a super cat model. Cat model?
You and him use the same sunbed.
Big race coming up is the BoyleSports Irish Grand National. And I just want to emphasise that this is the BoyleSports Irish Grand National, and BoyleSports are our sponsors. Who are our sponsors, Paddy?
BoyleSports.
Right, good. I think we've done that well. So I used to love, when I was in Ireland, when Robbie Power had a winner, I used to go, I got the power. Think I was the only person who used to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably misses that, does he? Should we find out?
Find out.
Okay, here he is. Hold on. There he is. Puppy, how are you?
I'm good.
Does anyone still sing, I got the power, when they see you?
No.
Oh.
No. You're the only one, Matt.
Did you used to quite enjoy it underneath it all, even though you used to look as though you just wanted to thump me?
So look, every time you rode a winner and you were doing that, man, it was great because I'd ridden a winner, so you could do whatever you wanted.
That's true. That's true. I think that means he hated it.
I think
you won the Irish Grand National on our Duke in 2017. Is it, for an Irishman, like winning the Grand National, really?
Oh, it is, yeah. Like I probably got as much kick out of winning the Irish Grand National as I did the Gold Cup or the English National, because it was later in my career. It was a race I'd always wanted to win. Fairyhouse is 15 minutes from my doorstep, and the fact it was worth $500,000 as well meant a lot more as well.
You see, Pat, what was your record like? Because you're always telling us what a great jockey you were. You were the go-to man.
No, the goat.
What was your what was your record like in the Irish?
I never rode in the Irish.
You
National.
never rode in it.
No, but I do remember Puppy when it was wasn't he a novice Puppy?
Yeah, our Duke. He was only having his 4th run over fences.
Yeah, I do remember that very well. I think he was very up near the front, plenty of room, and yeah, great race.
Why did you never ride in it?
Couldn't get a ride. Harry Skelton won it, didn't he? Niche Market.
Yeah, I remember that in the old sort of
Still
orangey and black
colours. He still has them now.
Quarters,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we're talking to Puppy, not. Why do you have to always bring it back to the Skeltons?
Because I always just remembered him.
Yeah.
And did any other English
Do
trainer
you
win
quite
it?
like Harry? Like, deeply?
Well, I'm not like that. Can you carry
Okay, let's carry on. Right, so Arju, yeah. So in general terms, this might sound a crass thing to ask, but as you know, Puppy, I'm quite good at crass questions. Like, what kind of horse do you need to win a modern-day Irish Grand National?
Novices have a great record in the race. Probably a horse like our Duke. He won it off a mark of 153. He was a very good horse that was held the handicapper. Yeah, that's what you need, a novice, really, a good novice. I'd always look, if I was looking for a spare ride in the race or looking at what I fancy in the race, I'm always looking down towards novices or handicappers that have been a bit unlucky in their last start or something like that there. But yeah, a novice is the one you want, really, with the experience.
Okay, so as I said earlier in the show, we're recording this on a Monday. The races comes up at the weekend, so we don't know the exact field, but having just run your sort of eye over them, Haiti Couleurs is a general favourite at the moment, very good at Cheltenham. Johnny Who's in there, even Captain Cody, after his Scottish National win, is still in there, and you kind of think he might have not. Well, he must have had some sort of race because he ran for miles, but he was oozed into it the other day by Cobden. Where's your eye turn at the moment?
There's a few in there. I think I haven't a clue what Willie's going to run. I'd say Willie himself doesn't know what he's going to run at this stage. No. But Johnny Who, I thought, was very unlucky in Cheltenham when he was second to Daily Presence. I'd say Derek O'Connor thought he had the race in the bag. He had to pop the last, lost valuable momentum at the last. I think Johnny Who has a big chance. I think Haiti Couleurs is probably a bit short in the market for me. He was a good winner in Cheltenham. He beat Rock My Way of the Tizards, who I suppose ran a satisfactory race in the Scottish Grand National. But at the price of Haiti Couleurs, I think he's too short. Now is the hour of Gavin Cromwell. Gavin has won just about every handicap in Ireland this season. He fell in the race in Cheltenham, won by Haiti Couleurs, and his run before that, when 4-3 Card Bragg would be good enough for me off his weight. I think he could be potentially on the right side of the handicapper. Now is the hour.
Yeah, those lightly raced horses. I mean, Johnny Who, you were going on about all season.
Yeah.
We saw his real form. I mean, it obviously had been plotted up for Cheltenham. He's gone up he's £6 higher in Ireland than he was when he ran at Cheltenham. I think he'll run off 146 and he ran off 140. It just depends whether horses like that get used to sort of slightly being beat, I think. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I like Poppy said, I think at the last in Cheltenham, Derek thought he probably just had to pop it and lost a bit of momentum. But he had the perfect passage the whole way around. And look, sometimes just from a run like that could bring him forward, and he's a very, very interesting runner.
Haiti Couleurs, I was lucky enough to be at Chepstow when he won. I think it was a little hurdle race that day. And I'd love to dig out what I said after that race. I'm sure I said something really complimentary about him. And those kind of moments on telly are always quite satisfying because you get it wrong most of the time. Obviously, most of the time, absolute banana. But just occasionally you spot one and you think that's a really nice horse in the making. And I think he's tough, he stays, but he's in the back door of the Irish, isn't he?
Yeah, but you wouldn't rule him out. Stays very well. And Puppy knows more about it than me, but you got to jump around Fairyhouse like proper fences, and if he gets into a nice rhythm, you couldn't rule him out.
What about Nick Rocket? I mean, we spoke to Willie on this show last week. He said Nick Rocket was absolutely bouncing.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he was running this. To be honest, I think if he's going to run anywhere, it'll be Sandown.
But he's not in at Sandown, is he? I didn't think he was in at Sandown.
Is he not?
I thought he wasn't in, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I did look at it up at the time, and I thought he hasn't left him in. But I might be wrong about that because it has been mentioned elsewhere, and I'm quite happy. I'm just going to double check as I speak to you.
I'll be amazed if Willie runs him in the Irish Grand National.
He's not in at Sandown. He's in at Fairyhouse and Punchestown.
Right. Okay.
So, I agree, puppy. So if you were to narrow it down to 3 horses, Robbie Power, because you have got the power, what would you fancy? Go with the 3.
Johnny Who, number 1. Now is the hour, and I suppose you have to give a mention to Daily Present of Paul Nolan's. He'd be a very popular winner if he was to win it. He showed great battling qualities when he beat Johnny Who in Cheltenham, so I'd give Daily Present a good each way chance as well.
I presume as the Rob Corr Supremo, you are on a huge bonus this season. You managed to conjure up the 3 top staying hurdling performances out of your horses, over hurdles, that is, anyway. Quite extraordinary. Hidden Valley and the first 2, of course, at Cheltenham. Just how satisfying has that been, Robbie, to completely dominate that division?
Oh, it's extremely satisfying. I'd be much happier if there was one of them a champion hurdle horse, one of them a stayers hurdle horse, and won something else. But look, we're lucky to have what we have. We've 3 very, very good stayers. And there's a possibility that all 3 could run in Punchestown. In the 3 mile stairs in Punchestown. It's been talked about. It is a strong possibility because of the lack of options. We're coming to the end of the season, so they all have their entries in the stairs hurdle in Punchestown, and there's a possibility that all 3 could run.
Tell me, if the ground came up soft, which might be unlikely at the moment, I don't know, but it is Ireland, it's going to be softer than here. If it came up soft, which would be the one Robbie Power would come out of retirement and ride?
Teahupoo.
Right. He's still the best for you.
I thought if the ground was on the soft side, Teahupoo would win, and if the ground was good, I thought Bob would have more pace than him, and that proved right. So I wouldn't change my mind if the ground got very soft in Punchestown. I'd be on Teahupoo all day.
Robbie, you've seen a video recently of your little girl leading Bob Ollinger into his stable. Was he back with you for a bit, or was that?
No, that was a video from last summer.
Last summer.
But that's the kind of horse he is. He's an absolute gentleman. You trust anyone with him, you know. He's a real gent and a kind-hearted horse.
Lovely.
Can I ask you also just quickly about Slade Steele? Because in some ways, I don't know what's happening with him at the moment. He's been off a little while, but in some ways, you know, he was kind of dissed, I think, for his Cheltenham win. But actually, his run, the last time we saw him against Lecky Watson, that form has kind of held up now, and he might be better than everyone said. I mean, first of all, is he still alive and kicking?
Yeah, he's 100%. Henry and Davey are very happy with him. He has an entry in the Willow Warm Gold Cup in Punchestown next Sunday, and all systems go for that if he gets soft ground. He won't run unless the ground is soft. He has 2 entries for the rest of the season. He's actually in the Willow Warm in Punchestown, or in Fairyhouse, over 2.5. And he's in the 3 mile grade 1 in Punchestown at the festival there as well. So if he gets soft ground, he'll run in one or the other, preferably the Willow Warm on Sunday, but we'll see what the weather does and what the ground is like. And if he doesn't run in the grade 1, we'll keep an novice for next season.
And Hartwood ran a cracker against Factor File in the Ryanair. I mean, it was a bit of a one-horse race in the end, but he ran really well, Hartwood. I see he's got no entries at all. Is he done for the year?
No, there's 2 options for Hartwood. He has the 2.5 mile grade 2 in Fairyhouse I think it's on Easter Monday. He could possibly go there, or he could go to Sandown for the 2 mile 6. I think it's grade 2 as well in Sandown. So he has 2 options, and all being well, he'll run again this season.
Amazing. Robbie, we always thank you very much for coming on this show and just giving us the lowdown to what's going on over there in Ireland. Have a terrific Irish Grand National weekend. Irish Grand National is on Monday, isn't it? Bank holiday weekend sort of thing. Yeah. Thank you for joining us once again on Unbridled. And remember, for the rest of your life, Robbie Power, you got the power.
Cheers, Robbie. Thanks for your time.
Not too many Easter eggs now, Matt.
Thank you. Cheers, Bob. Thanks.
earlier this season, do you remember when there was the hoo-ha that allegedly it never really going to happen, but trainers were going to charge for interviews? And I was saying that, I mean, Rebecca Carters could basically charge whatever she liked. I'd be doing the interview.
Right.
Unfortunately, I haven't arranged a Zoom call, but should we try her? We've never called her before. I don't know whether she'll answer me, to be honest. I don't know if she'll answer. So this could be a disaster. Be awful if Rebecca doesn't answer. Hello! Rebecca, you're live on the Unbridled podcast.
You're on the what, live bridal podcast?
You're on it.
Nice.
You don't know how
Swear then.
well, you can, to be honest. I'm with Paddy Brennan here. To be honest, I was saying it would be my luck that the only person I've ever really wanted to answer the phone doesn't answer it. But you did. You did.
I did.
You did. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm very good. We'll just have a little chat here between ourselves and then we'll get on with what we want to talk about. Anyway, look, joking apart, could be a big week ahead. Haiti Couleurs, are you all set for the BoyleSports Irish Grand National?
Yeah, no, he's in great form. He's exactly where I want him, I hope. So all systems go. And I said you a bit of rain there, so I think the ground will be perfect.
Cool, right.
And it'll just be, we're just waiting to hear back now, obviously, on jockey bookings and things. Sean's got an appeal on Tuesday, I think, because obviously he's banned over next weekend, which is a real shame. So we'll see what happens there and then make a plan.
Who's your second choice, Bex?
I mean, it was always between Ben and Sean because...
Ben Jones, yeah?
Yeah, obviously Ben went on him in Cheltenham. It was a really hard choice. But he was always sort of Sean Bowen's ride before then. And failing that, we have been offered a couple of good Irish jockeys, so it is all very much up in the air.
Okay, so it's going to be tricky, but you got to keep it Welsh, haven't you? If you go on.
Of course,
yeah.
No, either Ben or Sean would be great on him.
Okay, so we'll find out there. And I was saying to Pat earlier in the show that I was lucky enough to be at Chepstow when he won very, very early on in his career, and I remember getting really excited that day about this horse. I mean, to be honest, he's done even more than I thought. He'd just be a nice staying chaser, but he's just developing every run at the moment, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's really, really progressing all the time. Because I suppose for his age, he's still very lightly raced. It was a shame, when he went for his first novice season, he had that awful injury, so he missed a full year. So I think a lot of it was greenness things. He's learnt his job now and, exceeded all of our expectations, I guess, as a chaser going forward. And
really good for you, Cheltenham Festival winner. I mean, I'll try and put this the right way. I feel, Rebecca, you've always sort of bubbled under the surface, but when you've had the opportunity to show what you can do, you've always done it. Like I feel this is a yard that still can go even further than you've gone. How do you look at life?
I do feel that, I'll be honest. Because, I know given the right horses, we, can get the job done. We've got amazing facilities here. I've been at it a long time now. I hope I know what I'm doing, but we've never really, I suppose, had the kind of opportunities I'd have hoped for. We've had plenty of Cheltenham Festival winners and good results, but never have we had those, big owners come in sending some nicer sort of expensive type horses, which is what we've always lacked. How I fix that, I don't know, whether it's location where we live or I don't know really. It still might happen yet, so I'm not losing hope.
Well, I mean, it's about time you had a Paddy Brennan Racing Club horse, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I mean,
I
it'd be worth it just to go down and see Rebecca, wouldn't it? Come on, Paddy.
I think her promotion of a Cheltenham Festival winner will help her get some better horses, definitely.
Yeah.
You say that though, but I mean, that's the sixth one we've had now. Not any Cheltenham Festival winner we've ever had has ever brought in an extra horse. So.
Yeah, well, this show will remind them, Rebecca, we can push it out there that sometimes people forget easily. We're reminding them here that you had a Cheltenham Festival winner, and hopefully it will lead to other owners and bigger orders at the sales, but I do know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paddy.
I mean, it's
Any little bit of help is great.
Yeah, and 6 winners. Like, remember David Nicholson? I can't remember how many years, but I think it was getting on for 20 years before he had his first Cheltenham Festival winner.
So tough.
It's not a given just because you're a big name or you're well known that you have a Cheltenham Festival winner. And you've just said to me that it's the Olympics of the sport. It's the place that matters, and Rebecca trains winners there.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's interesting. Look, so everything's in place. Hopefully Sean Byrne. If not Sean Byrne, Ben Jones. And if you dump Ben Jones, then you've just said you're ditching your homeland and you're going to go Irish.
No, I won't do that. I'll be loyal, don't worry.
Well, Rebecca, thanks for answering the phone, first of all. I really appreciate it. Paddy said there's no way you'd answer to me.
Yeah, well done, Rebecca.
So thank you for answering. Next time we would rather have a Zoom call, though.
No problem. It's a pleasure to be on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
Rebecca.
very
Have a good
much.
week. Go well.
Bye.
Go well.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, Pad, this was episode 23. 2 more episodes to go. We have stretched this jump season like no one thought the jump season could be stretched on Unbridled. Hopefully, someone might come along and sponsor us for the next season.
Please.
I think people have quite enjoyed the show by the comments below. If you have enjoyed the show, please make a comment below because you give us more chance of selling it to someone in the future. I think we've got to end just finally though with this Willie Mullins juggernaut. He's heading to Plumpton with not just small names, but we've got a real view of what Dan and your mate Harry Skelton are up against.
Yeah.
You know, he's got horses like Carjasey entered at Plumpton. Big names.
But Plumpton deserve the big names with the prize money, Matt.
Yes,
you
true.
can't knock them for that. But
No, Peter Savile's done great.
I've been going to Plumpton for a long time, and I seen Willie Mullins' lorry. You can't miss it. Struggle to gain the gate now, Matt. They'll need to do a bit of digging on the entrance for that lorry to get in. So, Plumpton, get ready. Willie is on his way.
Which is not something you say every day of your life. This was Unbridled, episode 23.